I think the challenge was really trying to find different angles that you do not see on a regular TV program about cars. The big challenge is how you're going to shoot something where you're going to go with cameras, with car that's going to go at full speed, 200 miles an hour, and how do you going to capture this?
Interestingly enough, this next film we are going to be talking about today is based on a true story. The true story of a kid who has played numerous racing games in his time, but dreamed of becoming a real racer.
I started playing Gran Turismo on the PlayStation. And then when I was 19, I remember seeing it on a normal TV advert, GT Academy, a chance to become a professional racing driver for Nissan. I didn't have any experience driving anything, and then 8 months later, I'm driving this car at 140 miles an hour.
Today we'll be going behind the scenes and giving insight into how this film was shot and what the backstory is. So let's go ahead and jump right into it.
Gran Turismo is the true story of Jann who went from the digital world of racing into the real-life world of racing and was successful.
But before we get into more of these moments, some trivia for you. Neill Blomkamp is the director of this film and is a fairly known director. What film is he most notable for making? Leave your guesses in the comments down below and stick around to the end of the video to find out if your answer was correct.
He's sitting on a couch playing a video game and he winds up becoming a great race car driver.
But to have a film made about it, I never thought that was even possible.
I think it's maybe the first film ever where there's a film being made about someone's life and they are stunt driving in the film.
This biographical sports drama came from a screenplay by Jason Hall, which had permission to produce by Columbia Pictures and PlayStation Productions as it features racing games.
It literally is not possible to put cinematic level 6K, 8K sensor into the LMP2 race car's cockpit unless we had the Rialto. So it was genuinely essential.
Winning a series of Nissan-sponsored professional video game competitions, the real player Jann Mardenborough began his rise to fame with racing in 2011 at the age of 19.
Arriving on set, it's very surreal. The scale and the attention to detail in the car, it blew my mind.
I have nothing but respect for Jann. Being in the car is the most difficult thing I have ever done.
He participated in the GT Academy, beating 90,000 other entrants and won the competition. And the prize for his victory was a drive with Nissan at the Dubai 24-hour. He scored third in his class.
I mean, it's about a guy who played video games very intensely and then took that video game experience and put it on the track. It really becomes, to me, like a great sports movie. I mean, like, when I read it, it reminded me a lot of one of my favorite movies of all time, of any genre, but certainly of the sports genre, which is Hoosiers.
Since then, he has raced in Japan in the Super GT and Super Formula Championships. In 2016, he won a race and was in championship contention in the GT 300 class of Super GT.
The Rialto is a detachable front end of the Sony Venice. Fiber optic cable goes to the brains, so you have the sensor up the front, which makes it a very small unit, so we can put it in tiny places, which is ideal for cars.
Then in 2017, he joined the GT 500 class, where he still competes and has a scored podium. Of course, for a film like this, you have to go to a real racetrack, to which they did, and we get to see what they had to do and some of the problems they faced.
When Neill decided that his approach was going to be to shoot on the real racetracks with real cars driving at speed, the problem that we had to solve was how are we going to capture that in camera. Very clearly the vision from Neill was he wanted this movie, Gran Turismo, to be very real.
And the title Gran Turismo is actually a racing game simulator, which if you have any experience playing any of the simulator games, it's actually pretty spot on with realism. Having come out in 1997, the game was constantly updated to look and feel like the real thing.
We were super specific about when to be inside the cockpit versus outside the cockpit, because outside you also get this amazing sort of particulate water or dust hitting the windshield and reflections and everything else that put you undeniably on the track. But if you want to get intimate and be in the cockpit.
And with practice in a simulated racing chair and the steering wheel, it's safe to say that maybe Jann did get some pretty good practice with just that, considering how much technology is advancing nowadays and even back then.
Jann has this burning passion and desire to achieve more than what his circumstances were allowing. That is unbelievably inspiring.
You ready to bring this home? Let's go.
We get to deep dive into the workings of the camera they had to use to follow the extremely fast cars. Naturally, the centerpiece is the Sony Venice camera and its all-important Rialto sensor.
How do you make the audience feel like they're there as much as possible in a way that feels like you're moving, or that it's visceral, or that it's experiential? Most of that comes down to photography style choices.
We eliminate as much as possible of any element that was not conveying speed to us. Camera low to the ground, lots of tarmac.
This full-frame IMAX certified camera has an 8K sensor which, crucially, can be separated from the main body. That allows filmmakers to place the sensor assembly in compact spaces and put the bulky body somewhere more accommodating.
Look, safety's left, okay?
I mean, the speed these cars are going, the heads we're using, we're not using fully stabilized. It's very raw, very gnarly, especially the nice stuff in the rain. It's very aggressive, raw looking footage is great. I think it will be a fantastic up on the big screen.
Using real actors in real cars and real racetracks, having to strap the actual cameras to the cars was pretty risky even with professionals behind the wheels, as anything can happen, but it's what they had to do to get the right shot and make the audience feel like they are on the track right beside the cars.
It's a wish fulfillment story, full of speed, intensity, and drama.
If you miss a line in the game, you reset. You miss it on the track, you could die.
David Harbour, who plays Jack Salter, speaks about the real story, and we even get to hear from the man himself.
That is the same story of this kid who, you know, playing video games and nobody believes in him. Nobody thinks he can do this. Everybody's against him. And he overcomes these incredible odds and really achieves this incredible thing.
But real quick, make sure you guys check out our Instagram page, linked down in the description. There's a ton of interview moments and memes, so make sure you check it out and give us a follow.
The Le Mans prototype cars that we were filming in the third act in the film have a tiny, tiny cockpit, and we needed to be able to shoot, like, you know, left to right, right to left for race footage, and then neutral, all right up with the actor. So we had these tiny sensor blocks in there with small lenses right by the actor, and then all of the cables running back to the bodies that we could store anywhere we wanted on the car.
And you hear these stories sometimes where someone says they have played a ton of video games in their time and think they have what it takes to do said thing. For this example, obviously racing.
His CGI has real gravity, real weight, real grit to it. And I think that some of that will be in this movie, but you'll never know what's, you know, CGI, because he really is, even within his fantastical world, he's really interested in stakes. He's really interested in realism.
Of course, racing on a real racetrack and in a video game is two completely different things, and very rare that the two can combine and can actually put some skills from the game to the racetrack. However, in this situation, obviously it ended up in Jann's favor.
For exterior photography, you can get into places and position them, because they're so light, in places that we could actually simulate the Gran Turismo angles, like the famous grill angle when you're racing, the POV angle inside the car, which again, because of confined spaces, you couldn't do normally.
While this kind of adaptation might initially seem odd considering the game's premise, the film's potential lies in its ability to highlight the inspiring narrative of Martinborough.
Yeah, it's definitely production heavy and much more VFX light compared to anything I've done before. But the reason for that is because these cars, you know, like at Le Mans on the Mulsanne Straight, there was a car that hit 400 kilometers an hour.
It underscores the intersection of virtual and real-world talent, simultaneously highlighting the consequences, both exciting and terrifying, if such an unexpected transition as racing in-game and real life are two very different things when it comes to mistakes.
Well, I mean, there were, you know, the main thing really that was a huge benefit to us was the Sony Venice 2 camera has a detachable sensor, which it's called the Rialto, and we used the Rialtos all over the inside of the cars, in the cockpits.
We even get to hear from the cast during interviews and how, from their perspective, the cameras and the approach of the film.
IMAX actually doesn't, there's very few films that are made with IMAX cameras anymore because they're organic negative film celluloid cameras. So we use digital cameras that had IMAX certified chips in them. So we just kind of made sure that all of the footage that we got was IMAX certified and able to be in giant theaters. So it's a resolution thing.
There were other interviews as well with Orlando Bloom and the actor who plays the famous racer, as they talk about not only having him on set, but he was actually the stunt driver for the actor.
A lot realer than I think I anticipated. I remember like day one, the safety guy coming and being like, the things we're attempting here have never been attempted before in cinema. And I was looking at Neill like, really, bro?
And as far as the answer to our trivia question, although Neill hasn't had a long history in the film industry, he has had his fair share of feature film work, including District 9, Demonic, and of course Gran Turismo. But his most notable to date is Chappie, a 2015 film about an artificial general intelligence law enforcement robot captured and taught by gangsters who nickname it Chappie.
So getting to that place of realism at driving at that speed, you have to, I think, put the actors into an environment that is basically that real. I think visual effects and video walls or green screen or any other way that you may go about doing it is just it's not gonna have the same effect on the actor.
But we wanted to turn this around to you guys. What are your thoughts on all of this, and is this a film that you are looking forward to seeing? Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Make sure you're subscribed with notifications on for more videos just like this. That's it for today though. We'll see you all next time with a brand new video. Bye guys.
When you're out here on these tracks, you really feel that visceral quality to this sport, even the smoke and the smell of fuel. And we want the audience to feel that. Neill really wants the audience to feel that. And I think in the hands of a different director, this movie could be kind of a disaster.